Hello there.
Hello there.
And welcome to What If Qui-Gon Didn't Die? My name's Jamie.
And my name's Shaun.
And we like talking about Star Wars stuff. So welcome along. And we like to ask questions based on whatever we think, headcanon sort of malarkey.
Yeah, well, whatever comes into our little heads, whether it's canon in lore or not, we try and just think about little scenarios.
Yeah.
And now it may affect the story overall. Most of the time it gets to the same point. Palpatine would know.
Yeah. Always Big Daddy Palps.
Always Big Daddy Palps. But it's fun for us to discuss little avenues and little tree branches on our little journey of the episode. They can get a bit twisted and viney.
Yes.
These trees of us trying to figure out the
we
paths.
branch off
So much. But if you stick with it, hopefully you'll have a good time and you enjoy our Star Wars content. Sometimes we do actually have some quite good ideas as well.
Yeah, this is it. So we don't do any research, we don't do any prep, or we do very, very little in the way of prep at least.
It's all in our little mind nuggets of how we love the galaxy far, far away. Not reading books until 4 a.m. to be like, well, if we do an episode on this one guy, he was born in, 220 BBY.
So what you hear is just us rambling until we stumble across a good idea.
Yeah.
So we come up with a title and then we work backwards from there. So this time we are going to ask, what became of the likely lads or ladies? And that is us asking what might have happened to the younglings.
Yeah. So we did an episode not long ago. You would have heard it about 2 weeks ago now. On Anakin and Yoda meeting in the Jedi Temple after Order 66 was given. Obviously, the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, where the council chambers are, and the little younglings. And we did touch on the younglings there, and how Yoda might have affected that.
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about now is what could have happened to them if Anakin didn't go in. And we are led to believe that Anakin killed him. We don't actually, like you said to me just before we click record, you don't actually see the perished young ones.
No, never.
But the implication is given that he gets his sword, laser sword, and does the mischief.
Yes.
Kills these younglings. What we're thinking is, obviously we can branch off a little bit here, but essentially Anakin doesn't kill him.
Yeah. That's I think that's the angle.
That's the turning point. If Anakin doesn't kill these younglings, we're now asking what happens to them as of then.
Yeah, and full disclosure, we did consider the idea that they were saved by Yoda, perhaps, or saved by somebody else.
From our last episode talking that you heard 2 weeks ago, yeah.
And then what would have happened? But that's so open-ended. Like they could have just gone into hiding. They could have become secret Jedi. They could have just gone about normal lives. It's just so ambiguous that actually we've found that trying to find something to talk about within that would be too broad and too difficult to squeeze into 1 hour.
You know what I would have taken them all on? An army of little Jedi slaves.
All racing around in little poddies.
All racing around, making the money in poddies. But the thing with that, and like Jamie's just explained, is say for example, Yoda did fight Anakin in the temple, going back to our other episode. And then say Anakin sort of moved on and didn't go to the youngling chamber, the training sort of chamber. Yoda opened the door, not Anakin, and he's like, yeah, come with me, blah, blah, blah. We'll all get on a ship and sort of fly away.
Yeah.
If through, a Spec Ops clone army blockade, Yoda was able to escape, which is, thinking about how these guys, the clones are supposed to be SAS. Like every single clone is SAS, essentially. I know that it's not really sort of shown as that. If Yoda was able to escape with these kids, the chances are it would have just been quite boring for you to listen to. Well, 3 of them would become Inquisitors, 4 of them would die, and the other ones would be, Obi-Wan can't look after them, so Yoda would have just dumped them on Watto. And then that would have been the episode over. So we have thought about that. And, if you want us to talk a bit more maybe about that avenue of it, then we could do a little bonus at some point. But we'll leave that to you to get in touch And if you want us to go down that little avenue, of course we can do.
Yeah.
But we're not going to go down that avenue from our Yoda episode.
No,
today.
we're going to take a more specific route.
Yes.
So the idea is that Anakin's gone in to deal with the younglings. Now, as Shaun says, it's implied that he kills them, but we don't see all the dead bods. We just see Anakin looking angry.
Yeah, he's angry. He pulls his sword. Oh, it's still blue. Ooh, Master Anakin, what are we going to do?
Master Skywalker.
Even though he's not a master.
No.
Let's remember that now. So he's probably more annoyed because the kids called him a master and he's going, I'm not master.
I'm Lord.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna explore an idea that perhaps Anakin was sent in there to abduct the kids, kidnap them for Palpatine's grand plan.
Grand planios.
And I think straight away it doesn't take a great leap of the imagination, but we're probably thinking that they're going to be recruited into being Inquisitors, into becoming Jedi hunters. Because
as they grow, they'll be able to feel the Force.
Yes,
essentially. So this is what I mean. Palpatine would know how to mould them to sense other Force users, like he can. All Jedi can do it, apart from every Jedi on the Council can't feel Palpatine's. But that's one of the episodes we said we'll do later on about Force Blank and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but just quickly though, what if Anakin went in the room and he was actually ordered to kill them? However, he thought about Padme with his little bambino inside her tum tum, and he what if Anakin decided not to kill?
Okay.
Do you think he would be able to shut the door, tell him to stay quiet, and try and persuade the clones not to kill them? Of course, the clones at that point are on robot mode.
Yes.
I mean, they're listening to orders and they're still acting like good soldiers tactically, but in the chips in their heads just saying, kill all Jedi. Yeah. So if Anakin could dissuade the clones from hurting them and he decided not to hurt them, I'm of a thought that they wouldn't be able to escape the temple anyway.
I think they would be allowed. Well, there must be some programming within that Order 66 because Anakin's allowed to still be in control. So he must still be able to
maybe give orders,
give orders to those troopers. So perhaps he can say, we're taking these kids.
Yeah,
they're not
Jedi, but they are of the Force.
Exactly. They're Force users, but not Jedi at this point. So therefore, maybe that's all the clones would need. They don't need to kill them.
No, that's a good point.
On a technicality. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of still vague anyway, isn't it? Like, define a Jedi. Is that a Jedi? Oh, let's kill them. Is it not a Jedi? I don't know. Are they Sith? Yeah, but do they use the Force? Yes. Does that make them a Jedi? Maybe. It's a lot of thought for a clone to have.
Yeah.
So there must be a level of command still in being able to be
in Anakin
enforced,
to command to instill commands. So he could get them taken away. My only thought with that is, and this is of course Anakin making a conscious choice, when it came to Mustafar, maybe Obi-Wan could get a bit further along on calming him down if he knows Anakin didn't kill the younglings, and if he knows that somewhere in there Anakin decided not to take life in that moment. Would there be a chance that Obi-Wan could save Anakin? It would be like 2% difference. I don't think killing the younglings is what made Anakin and that fight on Mustafar so, definite for him, like a full stop in the story there.
Yeah. I think some people see it as a turning point.
Yeah. But I personally don't see killing the younglings as a turning point.
I think it's the Tusken Raiders which are probably more of the turning point.
Yeah. The women and children in that scenario, because he's done it then, and that's the first time.
And it's pure rage, isn't it? He lost control.
Yeah.
And Jedi are supposed to be masters of control.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's when he lost it. Okay, so let's circle
back, yes. So I just wanted to clear that little avenue up.
Yeah, as we say, we love a branch. So we'll see up the tree. Okay, so let's say, for example, that Anakin goes in and he's able to either hold those younglings in that room for the time being, or he's able to remove them so they can't be found, which I think is probably more likely. I imagine.
He'd take them away because the temple's getting swarmed by clones. If they were left unattended, maybe
somebody else might get in there.
There could be droids running around. There could be, not other Sith users, but maybe some clones would do the deed, or maybe Palpatine himself would go in after.
Yeah.
And take a walk through the temple and then go, oh, look, all these younglings. Oh, come here, my young ones. Force lightning.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think he'd have to get him escorted off.
He'd have to get him taken out of the room and somewhere else.
Yeah.
But then in Anakin's mind here, he's so angry. He knows he needs to do this to save Padme. The soldiers are listening to him. And in the films, we're led to believe that they're listening to him, and it's just a random thing. But actually, he has his own battalion of clones. Let's remember, they've listened to him for the entirety of the Clone Wars. He's been ahead of the 501st. So I think it would have to be a really, really big decision for Anakin to not slaughter him there, because obviously we know from watching the films, all he's thinking about is need to save Padme, need to do what Palpatine says, let's do it, he'll help me, happy days.
Yeah.
So for him to then take them away, I agree with you. He wouldn't leave him in the room because that's just too dangerous.
Yeah.
Even if he locked the door, you've seen Qui-Gon open a door with his lightsaber. All he'd have to do is just somebody would blow that thing off.
Wouldn't take too much, would it?
No, so he'd get him taken away. And like I said earlier, because of like the blockades and stuff like that and the clones everywhere, he would probably move him somewhere a bit more secure to be held.
Yeah.
And then he might carry on with clearing out the Jedi from the temple and the libraries and destroying all of the Jedi holocrons. Is that what they're called?
Oh,
the little Iron Man hologram balls.
Yes.
Destroying all of those, maybe. And then he'd go back to find them when the temple was cleared. Because we are also then again led to believe that he just flies off to Mustafar and sees Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
But he would need time then to go and see these younglings.
Well, I'm not convinced entirely that he would have to go back and see the younglings. So what if the order came in from Big Daddy Palps himself and said, we need those younglings. I've got a plan for them.
Yeah.
You need to go and make sure that we get those younglings, because we can then take them and mould them before they're too old to realise that what we're doing is, well, they won't, Big Daddy Palps and Anakin's probably there going, are we the bad guys? But they need to make sure that those younglings don't become Jedi on what is seen as the good side.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sith don't see what they're doing as being bad. But so perhaps Anakin's only job in there was literally go and grab those kids, take them to this location, or make sure they're escorted to this location, and then Palpy's going to go and he's going to go and work some magic on them and make them into fully fledged forces for evil,
or something or other. This makes me think to Bad Batch, actually, you saying that. So Palpatine's given Anakin the order. Yeah. Anakin gives the younglings to his little squad of clones that are with him. They then would probably, just thinking of how Star Wars normally works, all right, because they wouldn't stay on Coruscant.
No.
Even though the Emperor is on Coruscant, bet you any money they'd put him on a ship and they'd take him somewhere like Tantis, where Omega and that goes in Bad Batch, for testing. Because at that point, Palpatine, spoiler alert for people who haven't watched Bad Batch, he is still, so this is a new thought altogether which we didn't discuss earlier, He's still working on his necromancer project.
Oh, okay.
And what he's trying to do there is he's trying to put the midichlorians from your blood.
Yeah.
And try and as you sort of make clones, because you can't clone midichlorians.
No.
But he's trying to do that. So when he makes a clone of himself, he's still got the middies. He can still do all of the Force stuff. I reckon if they survived and they were told to be taken away by the clones, they would probably end up on Tantis for testing. Because that's after Order 66.
Yeah.
If anything, it is quite some time. So between Anakin attacking the temple, I think during Bad Batch he's actually already Darth Vader.
Right.
So that's the time scale. I know it looks, again, films, looks like he's Darth Vader straight away.
Yeah, there's always some skew on the time scale, isn't there?
Yeah. But during Bad Batch, obviously Omega and that goes there, they're working on clones, but there is a little vault of young Force wielders with midichlorians in their blood and they're getting tested. One of our little avenues here, instead of turning into baddies, he could say, right, need them alive.
Yeah.
Because we're going to then take them to Tantis for testing. And maybe a battalion of clones would take them there and they would just basically become prisoners while being tested on, maybe.
Yeah.
For his cloning the Emperor. The Emperor's back again project.
Not again. Not another one.
Another one? It's another Palpatine. Great use of a bad guy. But to be fair, Snoke was a great bad guy. He looked menacing.
Oh, he was.
Why wasn't he just the new big bad guy?
Yeah, there was no need to bring back Palps.
No need to bring back Palps. I mean, I love the guy. Love the guy. I love the fact that they brought him back. Yeah, lovely nostalgia. Snoke would have been great if they didn't ruin him when he was sat with the golden dressing gown on.
Right, let's get.
I mean, I know this is another episode.
Right, let's get sidetracked just really quickly, really quickly. Snoke dying when Snoke had to die, I think, was perfect.
Yeah,
you see him in the first one.
But this is what I mean. He could have been.
He demonstrates his power. He opens up the mind bridge between the two, and then there's a big epic fight, and he gets killed by his arrogance, essentially, because he thinks he can see everything, but he actually gets outsmarted by Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren looks like he's going to be good. Turns out he's not. He should have become
the new Snoke.
Yeah, and it could have just been that he maybe disappeared. Maybe there should have been a period of time in between, and then they come back and they go, "Oh, you're 10 years older." But he's so much more powerful and dark.
He's been to all of the Sith temples and done all of the Sith trials.
He's doubled down on his
training, medication, meditation.
Anyway, but I don't think Palpatine needed to come back.
No.
I think Kylo Ren could have been
the one.
Yeah, the top of.
Yeah.
I don't think he really was powerful enough, but that's by the by.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving back around.
This whole episode is just a little twister slide of things. But yeah, so one avenue could be that he takes them off to Tantis, get some tested on, and then what happens then is we would know then what would happen to the younglings then if they say went there. I think the planet's called Tantis. I'm sure the base is called Tantis.
Yeah, Tantis or Tantalus.
Or something like that.
Yeah, I might be getting confused with something like Mass Effect.
Yeah. Great game, by the way. So what happens at the end of Bad Batch is Omega gets out. She breaks out. I know it's a spoiler for some people. Apologies. So she breaks out, and then there's a sort of safe haven where the Bad Batch go. And the Empire hasn't got... Well, the Empire did go there, but they've sort of fought back. So like these people are safe. It's like a healthy, happy community where all people are welcome.
Yeah.
What would probably happen then is... So the younglings break out of the facility. Dr. What's-His-Face dies, and all the clone commandos perish and stuff like that. They would then go to this planet and live with the people. And because they would still be children, they would then probably be sort of adopted.
Yeah.
The township would take them in. They would teach them how to fish, how to do stuff. They would be like keep your Jedi powers on the down low.
Yeah.
Because we know you've had a little bit of training. Maybe meditate, but just try to block it off, because at the end of Bad Batch, obviously the Empire's still looking for Jedi.
Yeah,
it's not like, oh, they've just stopped because the Bad Batch won. No. They're still searching for them. However, they would probably be safer going down the route of being found in the Bad Batch. That is sort of the happiest ending they could get.
Yeah.
Almost there. And I didn't think about that because, you know, this is a weird one of why Anakin had to kill them. Thinking now about the Bad Batch, and I know obviously them films were written 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And the Bad Batch has only sort of just come around in the last couple of years. If they knew that they were going to do a sort of resurrection project with Palps, I don't think Anakin in the films would have been looked to kill him anyway.
No, he would have been looking for vessels.
Yeah. Or when they did the Bad Batch, because we didn't actually see him kill them, they could have all turned up on this animated series and you could have gone, oh my shit, they are the younglings from the film. Anakin didn't kill him. What an oversight, Filoni. And Filoni could have put them there and we all would have lost our minds because Anakin didn't kill him.
We'd then look back at that scene with Anakin and it would change everything.
Yeah.
Because at the moment you just go, oh, he's a vicious child killer.
Yeah.
But if you thought, if you found out that actually he didn't kill them, you'd be like, you had a moment there, where it looked like you were going to kill them all.
Exactly.
And actually,
because zips his lightsaber out, but what does he do? He turns round and batters the clones with it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, come with me.
Or maybe he doesn't even batter the clones. Maybe he's just like, I'm here to look after you. Here's the lightsaber. I'm here to protect you. Because the lightsaber is like a sign of strength and defense, isn't it?
Yeah.
So those younglings would go, oh, brilliant.
Great. Master. I'm not a master. Skywalker's here.
Yeah, Skywalker. Annie?
Yeah.
He's here to help us. And we're going to follow him. And then he takes us to a place which is not ideal, perhaps. But
it's technically a prison, but if you think about how that ends for them, granted, it's bleak. We're prisoners now almost, and we're getting our blood taken every day and tested on. But if you think about the last episode of last roundup of Series 3 of Bad Batch, them younglings there, if they were taken, it would be on Palpatine's orders that they were taken there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're then in knowledge of Anakin not killing them.
Yeah.
But that's because he's got orders. But the final result is that, like I say, the younglings are kind of safe.
Yeah.
They're still growing up. But because we know from Bad Batch that Ventress goes there. She's an ex sort of Dooku supporter.
Yeah.
So she was a bad guy force wielder.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But she sort of changed her ways a little bit. Maybe she would find them there on one of her little visits, which we do see in the series, and maybe she could go, well, I'll train you to keep your powers hidden.
Yes.
From the Empire. And then even though they've had a terrible sort of couple of years being tested on in the base where they're taken, the end result is that they might join the rebellion anyway, or live on this thing and have families and actually all right. What a nice little avenue that went down.
That's a nice little turnaround, isn't it?
Again, though, if we saw him in the Bad Batch in the facility, and you recognised the little lad with the blonde hair and the sort of Jedi robes, wouldn't you lose your mind to know that Anakin he didn't kill him?
Yeah,
even if it was on orders not to kill him, but he still didn't do it.
It looked like he would, but he didn't, because somewhere in there's a human person.
Yeah. And I know Palpatine said, I need them children. Take them to the base on Tantis. And he go, yes, Master. Okay. But he still, like, there was no child killing. So everybody would go, oh my God, he's not a child murderer.
Unless unless you're a Tusken Raider. In which case,
then he is, definitely.
He's not getting away with it.
No.
But, yes, it would be, what a nice little turnaround it would be. Okay, so that's a very positive spin on, as positive as it can be.
That's
after
one of
being
after
being held prisoner, etc. But at least it's got
a happy end, hope.
Yeah, a Star Wars hopeful ending.
Yeah.
Which is what it's all about.
It's a new hope.
It's a new hope. It's a lot of new hopes. Okay. So let's explore the other avenue then, because I think we've looked at the good bit.
Yeah.
Palpatine wants these kids.
Yeah. And he doesn't want them to go to Tantis. So we've done that avenue of going to Tantis.
Yeah.
So he still wants them. So he's told Anakin, don't want them dead, but I need them for future plans. So he's thinking in his mind, what? Inquisitors?
Yeah.
Jedi hunters, maybe?
Yeah.
You know, or maybe even he wants them to be commanders of certain bits of the military because they have the subtle nuances of the Force to just know when somebody's lying to them.
Yeah.
To know where to go.
Yeah.
To know, to be a good commander on the field with their red laser sword.
Well, the one of the Force powers is actually sort of that insight, isn't it? It's a battle insight.
Yeah.
So you can see how things are going to play out, so you know how to command more effectively. So you can be like, yeah, you send your group over there.
Yeah.
You attack that. We're going to attack this. We're going to win.
We'll wedge up in the middle.
What a powerful force that would be.
Yeah. And he's got, 12 younglings that he could potentially train in military strategy, train them to be force wielders, but for his gain, and have absolute devotion to the point where, because they're still young, if he clothes, feeds, and looks after them, and even though it's not for a good purpose, them kids are still going to think, well, at least he didn't abandon us. Because that's the one thing he won't do, is abandon them, because he needs them.
Can I just sidestep just a second? Because I've just had a dawning, a realization, a moment of clarity. We're talking about a dozen younglings.
Yeah.
Disciples, if you will.
Yeah.
What if Palpatine is God, sees himself as God? Anakin would be the Jesus. 12 little...
John Peter.
Yeah. One of them betrays him. But alternatively, Palpatine's Jesus. Anakin is Judas. Because ultimately he does betray him. Anyway, that's a little sidestep. Only because we mentioned 12 and I thought 12 Padawans, learners, disciples, followers of.
Well, maybe that's what he would want.
There.
Because, we know from Anakin that he's... I did see a little strip of comic the other day, or book, that said that Sith people used the Force to impregnate Shmi.
Oh, okay.
Whereas we're led to believe it's just like almost a Mary and Joseph scenario.
Yeah.
But that's by the by. So actually, the prequels are almost... You could say Palpatine would be their god. They would revere him. Anakin would be their master and commander, but also the Jesus.
Yeah.
Because he can do stuff that they can't yet. And they would just be, mastering the armies and looking after stuff, but they would look to them both as sort of not just in charge, but they could be like proper disciple-y, almost fanatical.
Yeah, and what if one of them then decided to write all the scroll and text?
Yeah.
At the start of every film.
Yeah.
Because that was the one that wrote the Bible.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has become very religious. I'm not a religious person. This is all. But
it's a bit much, but the correlation's funny, isn't it?
But yeah, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? A bit of fun with religion. Why not? Yeah, I thought there's a nice little link there between the two things, and I think a lot of stuff in life actually does reflect on those particular stories. So it'd be interesting if there are a dozen younglings in there. That'd be a great coincidence.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So then they can use those followers, those disciples, those little younglings to then go and do thy bidding.
Yeah.
and whatever they need. So yeah, it could be commanding, like you say, could be Inquisitors, Jedi Hunters, etc. Do you think that they would actually be used on the battlefield to command the clones or the stormtroopers as they would become? Because actually, don't they also believe that they've got commanders, they've got clone commanders already, they've got people of rank who are able to do that. They've got the Moffs, they've got all these people who can actually do it.
Yeah.
So why would you not just have a band of Jedi Hunters?
Yeah, that's a good point, because even though Vader, and you've got Tarkin and Vader, Tarkin is very much in charge.
Oh yeah.
And Vader's just like his magic wielding, lapdog. So, yeah, to be fair, so we can scrap the idea then that they would hold sections of the Empire's army. Let's be fair, they could be trained in it.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. Maybe because you've got the Moffs and stuff, maybe they would have them as little advisors or subordinates, but they wouldn't be leaders.
One of the reasons I think that they would be more likely to be Jedi Hunters is that to hunt a Jedi, you have to think like a Jedi.
Yeah.
So who better to send in? You can't send in troopers because they don't know what they're looking for.
No.
They're probably not very good at hide and seek.
No.
But they can only see people as people because a Jedi is too strong of their mind to then overpower and go, are you a Jedi? I'm not the Jedi you're looking for.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not the Jedi I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And then they move on. It's too easy. What they need is somebody who can't be broken down mentally.
Yes. Have some walls of defence in their psyche.
Yeah.
And also, and this is the thing about films again, you see the Jedi and, none of these are Jedi because they're not helping each other. Oh, he's the Jedi because he's standing up to defend the community.
Yeah.
In reality, you don't have to be a Jedi to stand up to the community. Look at Mando. Look at Mando.
Exactly.
So that sort of theory of, there's a Jedi hiding here, let's kill a few people and see if they really show themselves. In reality, anybody would go, all right, that's enough. It does. The Jedi could be miles away, and it doesn't mean that they're just because it would normally be a Jedi to stand up to them. So they would need to. These younglings would then need to use their sort of force to sort of almost sniff out other force users, perhaps.
I think the way that it would probably work is they'd have an idea of where some might be hiding.
Yeah.
So they'd have it.
And we've seen this in some stuff, haven't we?
Yeah. So you probably narrow down the planet quite quickly. So where are people most likely to hide? Outer Rim.
Yeah.
Let's go to Tatooine.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah.
Then you go into the towns or cities there, and you get more of a sense of somebody being present, but you don't know who.
Yeah.
And so you spend your time not going quite door to door, but kind of walking around the city, getting a feel for it, seeing who's about,
bit
seeing
like an
who's
Andor.
scared. Yeah, when the Inquisitors are about, people get scared.
Yeah, because they're ugly as well.
Yeah,
they're all in black,
and they hide, but generally people hide, so they're able to just walk around.
Yeah,
And what they're looking for is probably somebody who's not as scared.
yeah.
Because even though they're hunting the Jedi, so therefore the Jedi should be more worried, they're also more in control of their emotions. So if they're if they're not projecting that they're scared, perhaps they're more likely to be Jedi, and then causing some disruption, so that somebody has to stand up to them, might not always necessarily bring out a Jedi, but actually it would also help repress any sort of dissent in the community,
or some rebellion.
Yeah,
if you find a rebel starts, and they try and defend the people, you can go, well, you're a rebel at start then, aren't you?
Yeah,
death.
So actually, it's not just that they're Jedi hunting; it's that they're on the journey to finding Jedi. They're helping squash a rebellion.
Yeah,
for
at
the
same
Empire.
time, yeah.
Just as a happy coincidence, or unhappy for some.
Yeah.
But they're doing two jobs at once.
Yeah. I like the idea of that, and I think Palpatine would obviously, by the time this get tested on scenario, I think that's probably more Palpatine, because we know he does that anyway, because there actually are Inquisitors.
Yeah.
There actually are Jedi Hunters around. We're just speaking of these younglings specifically, and I think that's quite good. And because they were all, sounds a bit weird because they were all trained together in the temple, but I think he would keep them together because they've already got a bond to work well.
Yes.
And all he has to do is mould them one by one to then not see it as evil to do what they're doing.
Yeah, if they're all doing it, it becomes peer pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then he wouldn't have to split them up and put them elsewhere. He could say, right, you two are brother and sister now for life.
I think as well, like as we said, like time frames are skewed when you watch it. When we see the younglings, they are young.
Yeah.
By the time they get to like the Obi-Wan series or Rogue One, and or that's a sort of an unknown time period of a roughly 30 years, isn't it? About 15 years.
Yeah, because of how old Luke is in Episode 4. Yeah.
Those kids are probably going from maybe about 10, maybe a little younger, a little older than 10, and adding another 15 years on there.
So they're adults then, aren't they?
Yeah, they're adults, so they could quite easily, we could have seen some of them, and we don't know that they were younglings when we see them on the shows.
Yeah.
But that could have been their backstory. We only see a portion of it.
Yeah.
It's the portion that if somebody said to them, tell us about you growing up, all they remember is anything after their indoctrination, perhaps.
Yeah.
Anything before that is actually generally erased.
Yeah, because look at is it the Obi-Wan series with that sister? And she's hunting Vader, isn't she? But she's also, for some reason, really angry. And
yeah,
it's been a little while since I've watched Obi-Wan series. So she's roughly the age that the younglings would be.
Yeah.
Because when she was taken, which is funny because Anakin probably would have found her and then killed her. Why didn't he do a good enough job? She's the one that got away. The angriest woman you've ever seen in your life. So she would be the age during the Obi-Wan series. But again, it's time, because by that time Luke's, 11? So it's a couple of years before he literally becomes Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
All grey, Alec McGuinness, he has a facelift. So, they would, like you say, be in their early 20s, at least.
Yeah.
So they're grown up now, and the last 10, 15 years would be Palpatine moulding them, growing them, talking to him every day. Well, and he's got the gift of the gab, because look at what he did with Anakin.
Well, yeah, but
he was able to manipulate him with his voice alone, not showing him powers, not showing him, like tricks of the trade. It was literally just manipulation through emotion.
And also, just to circle back to their ages, Anakin became Darth Vader before he was 20, surely, or there or thereabouts.
Must have been, yeah.
So he's gone from being a Jedi to being one of the most powerful Sith Lords
ever
by the time he's 20. So there's no real reason why somewhere between the ages of 20 and 25 you couldn't have all these younglings becoming Jedi hunters.
Yeah, because powerful ones as well.
Yeah, yeah, as powerful as they need to be, I suppose. Some will be weaker, I suppose, but they've had plenty of time to train and do the job they need to do.
Yeah.
So I think in the timeline that fits.
Yeah, yeah. And that's such a good point, because looking at Obi-Wan, that's exactly what happened. And they become part of the sisters and brothers and Inquisitors and stuff like that. But Palpatine would probably have his own mind, and he would use the ones we see all the time. Mr. Whitehead with the ball bag, sort of brown marks. But the younglings he's taken are specific younglings we're thinking about. They could be their own little troop that operate on their own little sector somewhere, and they stick together and they root out all these things. Maybe they just skirt around the outer rim.
Yeah.
And you don't see or hear a lot about them, but Palpatine knows. And they might not even be killing them. Maybe they're capturing them, a bit like Gideon does with Grogu, to do more tests on, because Palpatine wants his blood, blah, blah, blah. It's actually quite cool, because it's like I said, he's such a good manipulator with his voice.
Yes.
These younglings would in this scenario grow up believing in Palpatine.
Oh, for sure.
You know, one or two might see the light when they realise that actually they are just killing kids. It's a force-wielding baby stab. But for the most part, he is able to manipulate them to the point where they feel justified to do what they do, and that's actually really powerful, especially if he keeps them together and they're running around in like teams of 6.
Yeah.
And it, like you said about them going to, streets and places and towns and they could scare entire communities just because of their bonds and their devotion to Palpatine. Which I know the Inquisitors are that people, like we know the Inquisitors are like that. We're just talking about our little pack of younglings, our little wolfen, on a separate thing here. Yeah, it just depends really on what Palpatine wants them for. If he's gonna spare them, he has already thought of a plan before they were even born.
Oh, absolutely. He knows exactly. He doesn't just do things for the sake of it. Everything he does has a purpose and a reason.
Oh yeah.
And if he was gonna spare someone, he's sparing them because he knows it's gonna cause something to work in his favour later on down the line.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even what if he didn't make them Jedi hunters? What if because there's 12 of them.
Yeah.
He's trained them up, and he sends them all off to little Sith temples to gather knowledge, and each one of them's got their own little trial to do.
Yeah.
Again, he's making them believe when they accomplish things for him that they're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And that he is better. Yoda was an idiot for trying to teach you to fight with swords at such a young age. But you are now a grown man. You've done this for me. You've gone to get this bit of information or this old technology or this, rune or whatever. You've done a trial as well in the Sith Temple. You are worthy. And he's got 12 people who could potentially be gathering information for him to help Palpatine, maybe, stay alive longer so he doesn't need to be cloned all the time.
Yeah.
Because he's got all of these force-sensitive younglings now, growing up, going out in the galaxy to find things for him to stay alive. Because that's his whole plan, isn't it? It's just immortality. It's just stop his morality.
It's
basically.
Palpatine's workload must be ridiculous.
Oh, he's got brains in vats all over the place.
He must be slowing down time somewhere to get everything. Because I think being a senator would be a full-time job, even just 24 hours a day job, isn't it? Because you've got an entire galaxy that you need to be thinking about.
Yeah.
So then devoting time separately to manipulate a young Jedi.
For, 15 years did we say?
Yeah, something ridiculous. And find out knowledge about immortality and all the learnings, all the developing of his own Sith powers, all these things, all going on at once.
And he's able to just sort of smile his way through it.
And he doesn't look like he's ever lost his cool once.
No.
The only time he ever does is when he in fact, even when he's fighting Mace Windu, and that's when he uses Force Lightning, isn't it? That's when he becomes... Is it against him or is it against Yoda where he becomes the wrinkly old man?
It's Mace. Because I think Mace goes into the chamber, Anakin's talking to him, Mace Windu says we're going to arrest him, and then he acts all wounded, doesn't he? Yeah. Oh, I'm wounded.
But he's not. And even when he's using that Force Lightning and he's becoming old... Yeah. He's smiling, he's laughing, he's having a great time.
He's had a couple of edibles. Isn't he? He's given some to Anakin, which is why Anakin is spacing the F out in the background like that. What's happening?
What have I done?
Yeah. And then he gets pushed through. I mean, it's great to think, though, because it's just... Palpatine just, like... Come on, man. Yeah, you are more... I'm trying to think of somebody else who has all of these schemes going at once. Actually, they all come together in the end. There's nobody written in fiction that can hold that amount of little games all over the place.
Not to the same degree, I don't think.
No.
There is others that sort of have multiple schemes going on. Plenty of Gary Kasparovs out there, but Palpatine is...
Oh, he's the main man, isn't he?
I mean, it's ridiculous. He shouldn't be able to see so much stuff.
No.
But...
And go to watch theatre shows with Anakin in the opera.
Yeah.
You think while he's watching the opera show with Anakin, his brain would just not even be listening. It would just be...
But I also believe he's taken absolutely every single word in.
Yeah.
Doesn't miss a thing.
Yeah.
And that's what makes him so good. His perception level is just through the roof, isn't it?
Yeah.
If he was on Fallout, his perception stat is...
Oh, it's way up there.
Yeah, plus 100.
Yeah. Yeah. You know... Oh, yeah, it's a cool idea. And as well, because then what would happen is, obviously, let's just sort of trail back to our little younglings. Let's say then they're all working for him. They're devoted to Palps.
Yeah.
Maybe they only answer to Palps and not even Vader. You know, maybe Vader's not allowed to talk to him. Which actually is quite smart on Palpatine's side, because it's Vader who killed their masters.
Yeah.
So he wants to keep their anger sort of
in check.
One of them kills too many families.
Okay.
One of them, goes to a Sith temple and reads something about, I don't know, you must take young life to, you know, further your own or something. and they go, don't really like the sound of that. I've had enough of just endless violence and being screamed at by people, and, you know, I know it feeds my anger, but a little bit of guilt starts to drip in.
Yeah.
You know, or maybe they run into Obi-Wan. Maybe they run into, I don't know, not Yoda, but maybe there's another Jedi in hiding, and they try to say, look, we know that you've been let down.
Yeah.
But there is a way. You know, this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. And then this one youngling then thinks, don't know if I want to really go back to Palpatine yet. I'm going to go on a little journey, maybe, and it will be a typical Star Wars story. This, it's A New Hope. See,
yeah,
a Jedi has found one of our younglings. Weren't you on the temple? Blah blah blah. Oh, it's so and so. I don't go by that name anymore. And he's going, yes, you do. Come on, find the good in you. And as he kills this Jedi, and the Jedi's like, I'm not going to fight you because I'm a good guy. Typical story start here.
That was almost a bit Trumpy. I'm
Yeah.
probably the best guy. Probably the best Jedi ever.
Probably the best Jedi ever.
Everybody says it.
Everybody says he's going to build a Jedi world. Okay?
Make Jedi great again.
He's killed Qui-Gon, okay?
A terrible guy. Terrible guy.
Terrible guy, this Darth Maul. He was chopped in half. Now this is good for the American people.
China. endlessly memeable. Donnie
Trumpo. Kidding me, man.
Anyway. Oh god, we get sidetracked, don't we? I don't even know.
So now I'm just thinking of Qui-Gon, but with Donald Trump's face on him. Save the boy, okay?
He's probably the greatest boy who's ever lived.
He's probably the greatest boy who's ever lived. We're going to get all the votes. He'll be granted a seat on the council, but he won't be. We will deny him master. Biden will be denied master, the rank of master.
Do not storm the Jedi Council. Oh dear.
Oh.
Right.
Sorry. Okay. Youngling finds a Jedi hiding out in the wastes.
Yeah.
They have a little fight because all of them do. They're like, we're supposed to kill you. And the Jedi goes, I will not fight you. I'm at peace And then they end up having a little bit of a fight just because, the prequel sort of ordained that you have to have a fight every time.
Every time, yeah.
Every time. So let's say the youngling then kills the Jedi and he goes, go to the temple on such and such. Here's a little data sheet. And see for yourself that there is still good, or, that people can use you good or for bad. Anyway, here's a series made. This youngling goes off, and it could just be called the youngling.
Yeah,
goes off to this Jedi temple. Now, he's been to loads of Sith temples. He's wearing all black. He's got the red lightsaber. He's done it all.
Yeah.
He or she. They go there, do the Jedi temple. I mean, you've seen on Jedi Survivor and stuff, you do a temple, you get the holocron thing, you speak to somebody who's imbued, the will. Maybe somebody's Force ghost comes down.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the one they killed on this other planet. What are you doing here? Palpatine hasn't told you that you can have immortality through being at one with the Force? Because let's be fair, he's scared about dying.
Yeah.
But I'm here stood here with you. And they get really angry with him. And then he's like, do the temple trial, and we'll talk after. Youngling walks out after completing the trial. His faith is shooketh, because Palpatine's lied to him about what the Jedi were about.
Yes.
What the Jedi mean, what being on the Jedi code means. And the youngling comes out, and then it's like, oh, I have been manipulated here. And thus begins, a youngling rebel.
A new saga.
A new saga, because all it needs is one little push. And Palpatine's manipulation can potentially be washed away. Or maybe they meet Ahsoka, because she is obviously Filoni's Gandalf-esque character.
All in white, yes.
All in white. She does the blast thing. She's like that, stabs her staff into the ground.
Yeah.
The Jedi Force blast, gets rid of all evil intent. See the light. Come with me. She shows them the world between worlds. Me and Ezra come here. And do you know what happened when me and Ezra come here? Watch the Emperor through that time portal over there. See what he's done.
And there's just a woman showing her boobies off.
Yep. He's scrolling OnlyFans and giving all of the Senate's money to one content creator.
That's a little reference to the. Did you see the portal?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a thing, isn't it? Or not anymore.
Not anymore. Right.
Yeah. Anyway, yes. So she says, look through this little time portal,
and he can and there's the Emp telling Anakin to, I don't know, either kill them, or this is if Anakin spares them for his own needs, or maybe he's saying is Palpatine saying we need them to do this, I will destroy all the Jedi, then I'll take control and power over everything.
Yeah.
And maybe this one youngling then just goes, this is mentalness.
Yeah, how did I not know?
How did I not know? But he was, and then Ahsoka goes, "You're only young. Look at how old you were.
It's all you've ever known.
Yeah.
How could you know otherwise?"
Yeah. This is it, And then you've got this Andor-esque rebellion thing going on, and this little youngling, and then maybe they find the other younglings, try and turn them to the light. Maybe then all the younglings in the end could maybe, forsake the Emperor. I don't think all of them will. There's always got to be some.
There's always going to be somebody you've got to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you call it? You'd call it the secret youngling, or the rebirth of the youngling, rebirth of the Jedi.
The Jedi rebirth.
One little question for you.
Go on then.
He meets that first Jedi who says, "Go to the temple."
Yeah.
But they've had to have a fight. Does he kill that Jedi?
Yeah. Oh, of course he does.
And then he has to think about it, and he ponders it and goes, maybe I should go down to that temple and see what's going on.
Yeah, because maybe he's got the chip in his hand with the map coordinates, and he's like, I promise you, go and have a look at this. And then they fight anyway, then he kills him, and then he's looking at the hand with the chip in it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've got an R5 unit or an R2 unit on my ship.
I need to go.
And he's looking at the hand for ages. This other Jedi's just dead. And he's like that, stop looking at me. Rolls the head over. But then he takes the little chip out, and or maybe Yoda's things on there. Or maybe they could go and see Yoda, and Yoda's like, "Oh, you were a youngling. You escaped, did you?"
I don't think that they'd be able to go and see Yoda. Not because nobody knows where he is.
Well, I think it would just be weird, wouldn't it?
Well, I think if he saw Yoda, or he saw these coordinates, and it took him to Yoda, he'd be like, "Oh, another Jedi to kill."
This is true.
What he needs to do is find an inanimate object, which will tell him, he or her, what he can read these texts and make their own mind up and go, "Yeah, okay, so this is written here. This goes against what I thought."
Yeah.
So you'd have to go to the temple. You'd have to they would have to go and make their own minds up about what they believe is true or not.
Yeah. We have thought of a way to A, redeem Anakin a little bit, and B, make a pretty cool series
A new little series. Filoni, call us.
Yeah, call us. I'm going to hashtag him in the reel for this episode and pump this idea to him this way.
I know I always sound busy, but I'll make time for you.
Yeah. And you can sit me down and tell me the correct law.
Yes, yeah.
And timelines.
It'll be like, I'm really sorry, lads. This wouldn't happen because of every single one of those points you said. Incorrect.
Yeah, absolute garbage.
But
that's.
All you do is send me. You just send us a little reel of Luke Skywalker saying, "Incredible! Everything you just said there was wrong."
Yeah. But it's typical Star Wars, though, isn't it? I mean, this is where we're going with this little session. I think is that. Yeah, Palpatine, wants the kids.
Yeah.
He's tested them, he's manipulated them, he's done everything he can. They all wear black now, their lightsabers are red crystals. I don't think they'd even built their own lightsabers, considering how old they are. So I think Hu Yang hasn't helped them. Hi, yeah. Hasn't made them build their lightsabers yet. So who teaches them how to do that? Palpatine, maybe. They grow up. And then there's always a bit of good within the bad. And this is where, when we see it so much, and like nearly every Star Wars thing, Kylo Ren, nearly there. That sister from Obi-Wan, nearly there. Darth Vader did actually redeem in the end. There's always something. Bar the actual Inquisitors, who you just see as real nasty people.
Yeah, they're but nobody's trying to save them.
No, nobody's trying to save them.
Because they're not key players.
Yeah, this is it. But
if you're not a title character, then nobody cares. You just be evil. That's fine. We'll just kill you, and that's it.
And be done with it. But even Darth Maul, at some point, Darth Maul wanted to do good for his following. He had a little following, and he wanted to do good. So he wasn't just crazy nasty all the time.
Yeah.
And it's the Star Wars thing of there's always a little bit of hope somewhere. And even if all the other younglings fell in battle or something, if this one youngling then found his way back to what we would deem as the good side, that's a win, right? And they then join the good fight to finally end the Emperor's reign. So it doesn't matter what happens in the... I mean, it's Anakin all over, isn't it? Starts out good, has a crap time, ends good.
Yes.
Rey, abandoned, has a bit of a rough time getting to where she is in the end. What happens at the end? Happy, rebuilding the Jedi Skull.
Yeah.
Luke's is a bit more of a tragedy, but then he's a bit... They writ him a bit arrogant and brash, but all of them, you sort of that thing. Andor, Mandalorian, starts out good, has a rough time, ends okay.
Yeah, that's generally the way, isn't it?
It's like it sort of goes round again, and you got to have your downs to have your ups.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe this one youngling, maybe all of them, maybe in time, the younglings all rejoin, and you'll just see them all stood there on the balcony where Anakin told Padme he didn't like sand or anything. That that same building, that actually everything's all right.
Yeah.
And they're talking to Qui-Gon Jinn's Force Ghost.
Well, speaking of sand, we've been on for an hour now. Can you
Have
believe
we? Oh my goodness!
I can't believe how quickly that time has gone.
Yeah.
So
we'll call it there.
Yeah, we'd love to hear what you think about this.
Yeah.
As always, get in touch with us. We're on Instagram at WIQGDDDDDDDD. Or you can email us
at wiqgdd@gmail.com. We've had a few through the Instagram though at the moment, so yeah, always feel free if you find one of our reels randomly in the ether, you can comment on that or on the story to get in touch if you can't find our page or anything like that. But yeah, or even on the podcast page.
Yeah,
you can contact us by the main podcast page, and when I do the little story,
there'll be a little link there.
There's a little link at the top. The link isn't on the reel, but if you see the story, and it's obviously on our page and stuff, so you can find our
link in the bio.
Link in bio. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that, people. I could have rambled on for a little while there about what could potentially happen, but
because as always we spiral.
Yeah. But like we said at the beginning, Palpatine knows everything anyway, so he's already planned for all of this. He probably knows that the one youngling's gonna turn good again, but he's calculated the risk. So.
Yeah, he's mitigated the risk by getting all the bad work done in the first place.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, good talking to you, mate.
Yeah, and you, as always, look after yourself.
Be good
and stay out of the sand.